Welcome to Slice, Split, and Join lecture. So here we're going to be covering index, slicing, and stride, and then both splits and join string methods which perform opposing operations, and then briefly the slice built-in Python function, and lastly the membership operator in and the inverse Boolean operator not. Okay, so we've briefly seen indexing in the previous lecture, and here we have a variable called greet equal to the string hello world. We index by 0 and we get the output of the string h. Then we do some slicing on the same variable, where we have a slice of 6 colon, and we get the output of the string world. And then lastly we have stride, where we have a new variable, that is, from A all the way to F, and we do a stride of 1 colon colon 2, and we get the string output of BDF here. So what's happening in this example is that we have an index of 1, we have no slice, and then we have a stride of 2. So we're starting at B, and then we're jumping to every second letter, from B to D, and then to F. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is pause the video and copy out these 6 strings here. So we have robots, consoles, code, words, new words, and paid. Okay, so once you've copied them out, we're going to be working from top to bottom here. So we'll start off with robots, and I'll simply do len robots, which contains a total of 15 elements within this string technologically. Right, so let's say I want to get from the robots technologically here, I want to have techno. So as you can see, we have the word techno inside technologically. All I can do here is, let's say, robots, and I'm going to have 0 colon 6. This is a slice. So we sliced it and we got our word techno here. So you might be wondering, why is it that we have the O here instead of the L? Shouldn't we have L as the final letter? Because we do a index of robots and then 6, we get L. Well, the reason for this is because when we're doing slicing, it actually essentially does a minus on the 6 and you have a 5 here. So when you're indexing, you start always with a 0, and we have, let's say, T is 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and then you go to 6. It doesn't include the L, and so you only have techno. If I wanted to have techno with the L, you have to do a 7 here, as you can see. Okay, so let's say I want to get the other word that you can see here, which is logically. So logically here. So what I have to do is simply, as we know that 6 is L, I simply do a colon there, so it's a slice, and I get logically. Alright, so let's say for instance I want to get logical as opposed to logically. Well, we know that there is a total of 15 elements within this string, robots, which has the word technologically. So remember that when we're doing a len starts at 1, whereas indexing starts at 0. So len starts at 1, and indexing starts at 0. Okay, so that means that there's actually going to be up to 14. So if I do 14 here, we get Y. If I were to do 15, I'm actually going to get an index error, as you can see here, string index out of range. Right, so with that in mind, we do 6, and then I simply have to do 13, and now I have logical. So it's not including the 13th index here, which would be this L here. And the 14th would be, of course, Y. Alright, and let's say, for instance, I want to get the word call. All I have to do here is simply go from being a 6 here, where the L is, and I just count up. So it's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'll put a 10 here and then a colon for the time being. And then I simply do a 14, and now you have call. Because it's not including 14, it's simply 14 minus 1, and it gives you a 13 here. Alright, so moving on from that, let's go on to the next string, and that is the consoles. So PS4 is cooler than Xbox. Right, so if I were to do dot ends with, you can see it's true. So it ends with this particular exclamation mark. If I were to do something like a dash, I get false here. Alright, let's have to do len consoles, I get 24. So there's 24 elements in this particular string. And let's say I was to do consoles index by 23, we get the output of the exclamation mark. So remember, the len starts at 1, indexing starts at 0. So let's say I was to do console dot find, I get 23 here as well. So it tells me the position index-wise of where the exclamation mark is. Alright, so let's say I want to get the word cooler. So we'll just take a look here. I want to get this word here, cooler. Right, what I'm going to do is simply have consoles, and then we start with, well, PS4 is going to be up to 2, and then I start again here, so 2, 2, 3, because we're including the space as well, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 7, colon, so I've got cooler here, and we know this goes up to 6, there's 6 letters in the word cooler, so I do 13, and I get cooler here. An alternative and less common approach to generating this output of the cooler string would be with negative indexing and slicing. So if I have consoles -1, you can see I have the exclamation mark here. And similarly, if we were to do with a 23, so the positive index, we also get the exact same output. So when we're doing the negative indexing, we all start with a -1 here. Okay, so if I want to get the output of the cooler, what I need to do is just refer here. So we have a -1, then it's a -5, -6, -10, -11, and then over here to a -17. So if I put this 7 here as well, you can see I have C for cooler, and then if I want to get the rest of it, logically it's going to be a -11 here, as you can see. Okay, so moving on to the next variable, which is going to be code. And as you can see, it's a bunch of numbers from 1 to 8 with the word Pythonic hidden inside. So let's say I want to get the actual Pythonic word generated as an output for a string. Well, I'll show you 2 very inefficient ways before explaining why we use the stride. So we'll have code.replace method, 1, and then .replace again, just 2 times. And as you can see, it would get extremely inefficient because I'd have to use the replace method a total of 8 times to remove all 8 of these numbers here. And another very inefficient way would be code, and then we have 0, 1, and then plus code 2, 3, and then plus code 4, 5, and so on. So this is where we use the stride, and if you see we're at the beginning of the lecture, so I have 0, colon, and then 2. And as you can see, I have Pythonic here, and then I can do dots upper, and it's uppercase. Likewise, if I want to get the numbers only, it's going to be code, and I just start with a 1, because if we take a look here, the numbers start at the index of 1. So I'll do colon, and then 2. As you can see here, we have the numbers. And I can also reverse them with colon, -1, or I can get every second number, which are all going to be even numbers here. 8, 6, 4, 2. Okay, so moving on to the next variable, which is going to be our sentence, which is words. And it says here, I saw a cat jump over the moon and into the clouds. So let's say I like to have the cat over moon as the output here. Well, it's not going to be practical to use indexing and slicing. So what I'm going to do instead is have a dot split method. And now I have a list here of all the words here. So we have a total of 12, which are strings. So 12 strings in this list. And I can actually just assign this as a variable. So we'll have var. And then I'll just output it again. And then I'll do len var. So we should have 12, as you can see here. Alright, so let's say I want to get the outputs of the cat over moon. What I can do is 3 colon. It should be in the square brackets. 3 colon. Okay, so I have cat jump over the moon. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3. Right. So what I can do here is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 here. Like so. Okay, and then I want to simply do colon 2 for every second string, cat over moon. So let's say I want to also have cat over moon into clouds. Well, we know that if we do a len var, we get 12. So if I put a 12 here, we get cat over moon into clouds. Okay, great. And similarly, let's take a look at the new words variable, which is I saw a cow fly over the gates and into the forest. So instead of using this particular approach, what I'm going to do is have the slice built-in Python function of 3, 12, and 2. So I'm going to have cow over gates into forest, and save this as a variable, s1, and then I can do new words dot split, and then square brackets s1, and you can see cow over gates into forest. Just like if I were to do var square brackets s1 cat over moon into clouds. Okay, so you can probably guess that we can also use the in and not operators. So I'm going to use that like so. We'll have, let's say, cat in var. You get true because, of course, cat is in the list var. But I can also do not in, and that's going to be obviously false. And I can also put in dog. That's going to be true because dog, of course, the string is not inside this list var. Alright, and I can also have and, say, cow in new words dot split. You also get true. If you put not in, you're going to get false because you both of them have to be true, otherwise you're going to get a false output here. Now let's say, for instance, I want to convert this list here back into the string. What I can do is the opposite of a split, so that's going to be dot join, and then I obviously have to make a space here. As you can see, it's exactly the same as when I had the words variable. Alright, and let's say, for instance, I want to take a look at the last variable, which is pay. So it says I received a total of $5,000. So let's say I want to split this according to the dollar sign here. What I can do is dot split, put the string in of the dollar sign, and there you have it. So I have a list here consisting of just these two strings, and I can index by 0 or I can index by 1 to get the value here of 5,000 as a string. Alright, so that concludes my lecture on the slice, split, and join. I hope this has been insightful, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the Q&A. Thanks.